So I wanted to look at the idea and concept of freedom through the yoga philosophy lens. And I'm reading a new book by one of my teachers, and he had a whole section on it. So I thought this was pretty cool to share. So there are different schools of yoga, and depending on the time period in history. So it's like thousands of years ago that some of this yoga philosophy was written about, and a lot of it actually was passed down verbally. So before there was books to read, it was passed down verbally. But in the oldest tradition, the classical, there is a definition of freedom. And this definition is that freedom is attained by separating spirit from the material world, including the body and the mind. You are free once you identify completely with spirit and transcend material reality. So that one's kind of pretty woo-woo, right? So it's like, how do we do that? So it's like kind of this less identification as a physical body and like kind of really connecting to spirit and knowing that we are spirit is this kind of classical view of freedom through yoga. And then a little bit later is the Vedanta. So Vedanta is a little different. They say that freedom comes by changing the way you see the world. You are free once you can see the one spirit in everything. And you recognize that all differences within the world is an illusion. So it's this idea of oneness, connection, everything's interrelated. So finding freedom and knowing that, everything is connected. And then a little bit later is the tantric viewpoint. And you may have heard that word tantra. Some people associate it with like sex, right? And that's like a really, really small part of tantra. Tantra is actually this really big yoga philosophy tradition that is, to me, really interesting because it addresses more of our actual experience. So it's not all about just transcending the mind and body. It's actually including all of our experience in our spirituality. So according to the tantric tradition, freedom is experienced and maintained by setting healthy self-boundaries. So that's really interesting too. So according to classical yoga and the Vedanta, they start from the assumption that we are already kind of not free, right? But Tantra maintains that we are already free and we have freedom to choose. So the philosophies kind of go on to say that we have to choose, make choices in life that we bind ourselves to, right? So you made a choice to come here and practice yoga today. So that it was your freedom of choice to do that. So in Tantra, the question is not how do you become free, but rather what do you want to bind yourself to? If you don't bind yourself to what you truly desire, something else will bind itself to you, and it probably won't be what you want. The only impediments to sustaining and creating greater levels of freedom are your own self-created limitations. So it's all about like making conscious choice, right? Instead of letting life happen to us. So that's like the opposite of freedom, like sort of we go through it with our eyes half closed and just not really being aware, and life just kind of happens to us, versus the freedom to make those choices. So that's a little bit in the nutshell. I'll probably read a little bit more to you maybe in Shavasana, but for now we're going to work on a practice that creates space, freedom, and openness in our physical bodies, and hopefully as well in our minds. So you can go ahead and come on your backs now, and we'll begin our practice. The other thing you might need initially here is if you want a little pillow or something under your head, you can go ahead and have that. And we're going to take a couple moments just to settle onto your back. And starting to focus on your breathing. That is always a choice we can make too, right? Our breathing happens naturally, but we can have the choice to actually consciously shape our breath. And we choose to consciously shape our breath This can change our state of mind, how we feel in our bodies, our level of pain or anxiety. So consciously shaping your breath is a choice. It's a conscious choice that we must make. So take a nice slow deep breath into the belly and slowly let it out. Take a few more cycles like that, allowing yourself to settle in for your practice. So let's take about 3 more breaths here. Our practice is also going to create more freedom for the breath because we're going to focus a lot on our side body and our rib cage area today. So on your next inhale, you might take your pillow out if it's in your way, but take a full body stretch. And really reach out long through your arms and your legs. Create as much space in your body as you can. If you want, you can do a little up slip, down slip, reach through one arm and leg and reach through the other, like you're kind of climbing up that rope. So really think about creating space on the side body today. And then from here, take your arms wide like a V shape, and then take your legs wide, so we're almost like in an X shape. So we're taking up a lot of space on our mat. Now we're going to do the one that I call human X. So we're going to take our right arm and right arm and left leg and reach them away from each other on a diagonal. And as you reach away, just maybe notice muscles that engage, maybe your leg muscle engages. And then the other side, left arm, right leg. Just kind of reaching out on a diagonal. We're creating space in the center core of the body now. So go side to side a few more rounds. And imagine that you're just waking up in the morning, like you're taking a yawn when you do this stretch. So let it be kind of a longer stretch rather than really quick. So it's like an inhale and stretch and maybe engage the muscles like you're just waking up, and then do the other side. One more round through on each side. And then go ahead and just relax for a moment. Let everything drop. And then we're going to bring those knees into the chest. You can rock a little bit side to side, loosen up your lower back. And then we're going to take the legs straight up toward the ceiling and we're going to flex the feet. Now from here, we're going to take the legs apart into a straddle position. So we're going to be working with straddle positions today as well. So only going as far here as it feels comfortable for you. You can always support your legs with your hands for a moment. If it's too much, you can also bring those legs a little closer. Okay, so we're going to do a little core work here. I'm going to ask you to bring your left leg over to the ground. And as you do, your right leg is going to point straight up. And then we're going to switch. So we'll come back up to center, both legs up, and then right leg out to the side. I'm going to have to move away from my wall a little bit. And then coming back up to the center. So now we're going to make it a little more challenging. You can always stick with that if you wanted to. So take your left leg down to the ground. Right leg reaches up high, like push it up toward the ceiling so your right hip lifts. And now see if you can stack your right leg on top of your left leg, which is also going to kind of stretch through your outer hip, maybe your lower back. And if this is too much, then just go ahead and do that first movement. Take the right leg back up, and now the left leg comes up to meet it. Okay, bring the right leg down to the ground. Pause and reach the left leg up high, and then see if you could stack your legs on top of each Another thing you could do here, guys, if this is too much, bring the left leg back up. You could do this with bent legs. And then the right leg comes up to meet it. Let's do that another time on each side. So left leg down, right leg reaches up, and then try to stack your legs on top of each other. So it's a little bit of a twist. And then let's do the one more time on the other side. Right leg up, left leg up, right leg to the ground, left leg reaches up, and then stacks. And then let's bring left leg up, right leg up, and keep them up there. Okay, keep your feet flexed, and we're gonna come back to a straddle position. So legs apart wide, reach through your inner legs, inner heels, and take your hands behind the back of your head. A little bit more core, take an inhale. As you exhale, lift your head, chest, shoulders. Next stage, you might reach your arms through your legs. And final stage, you might try to pick your hips up, pressing that low back down, engage those abdominals. And then inhale, hands back behind your head. Now you can just do part of that and do the whole thing. Let's start with stage one. Inhale, exhale, lift head, chest, and shoulders. You might stay there. Or reach your arms. Or try to lift your hips, which is going to engage those abdominal muscles more. So we've got 3 more rounds on your own. Inhale as you come down. Exhale as you come up. You need to take a break, take a break. Good, one more time. And next time you come down, bring those knees into the chest. Okay, so from here, take a couple rounds. Inhale, full body stretch, get big. And then exhale, knees in, curl into a little ball. You might lift your head and chest if you want to go a little bit more. Optional for you. Inhale, reach the arms long so you could keep the head down if you like. Exhale, curl into a ball. One more time. This time, as you curl into a ball, release your head down if it's up. We're going to roll to the side and come on up into a seated posture. Okay, so you might want to sit up onto your pillow or your blanket if it's challenging to be on the ground. And then we'll try to sit up nice and tall. All right. As you inhale, let's take the arms and reach them overhead. We're going to interlace the palms, flip the palms, press them up. And as you press the palms up, try to lift your rib cage away from your pelvis, get as long as you can. And then we're going to just go side to side a few times. Try to keep lifting through your arms and notice any restriction in the side body, in and around the rib cage, maybe the shoulder blade as it attaches to your rib cage. One more time on each side. Now the next time you come up to center, stay there. Lift up tall again. We're going to release the right arm down, keep the left arm up. Start to walk your right fingers out to the right, any amount. And then that left arm is going to reach over your ear on the diagonal. And then with this reaching, we always spin the pinky finger forward and toward the ground, creating a little spiral which wraps the shoulder blade and gives us more freedom to lengthen here. Okay, one more action. We're going to push the right hand to the right. And as you push the right hand into the ground to the right, you'll notice that your left sit bone goes a little bit more to the ground, creating a boundary so that we can get more stretch there. This is pretty deep, so always listen to your body. You don't have to go as deep. Let's hold another breath or two. Keep reaching through your arm. And take a nice big breath into that top area of your rib cage. Now to come out, be really careful. First, release that top arm down. Push into your other hand, tone your belly, and carefully come up. So you don't want to yank on those back muscles. All right, take a breath there. So anytime we do side bends, it really helps lengthen the compression that we often get from sitting, and we get short here on the side body. I see this a lot. We talked about it in our collapse class a bit. So we want to keep that nice and long. Gives us more space to breathe, more space to digest. So let's try the other side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Flip your palms, lengthen up as high as you can. And also at the same time, sit bones are rooting down. Okay, let's release left hand down to the ground. Walk your fingers out any amount. And then that top arm is going to reach over your ear. And we're going to spiral the pinky forward and down. All right, and then if you want, you can even bend that elbow if you want to go deeper. But we're going to push the left hand into the mat as if you're trying to push your mat to the left to get that sit bone to go down. And then we hold for a few breaths. And as you inhale into that top rib cage area and reach through your arm. Imagine just stretching that line of fascia that goes from our hip all the way through our arm. One more breath. And then push in your hand, let that top arm come down, belly in, and carefully coming back up. Good, give those shoulders a little roll. And then from here, we're gonna take those legs out into that straddle position. Point your toes up, point your kneecaps up, and root your sit bones down into the ground. So this might be hard for some of us, especially if we're a little tighter in the back chain of our body. So you might need to bend those knees a little bit away from the ground so that you can be right on the tops of your sit bones. If you can stay on the tops of your sit bones, you can keep your legs straight. And then again, let's inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your palms, and press the palms up. Now, as you press the palms up and lift your rib cage, root your thighs into the ground and reach through your legs, creating space. And then just a gentle side bend side to side. So we're going to deepen this later in the practice, but right now, just a little gentle side bend. All right, one more time each side. And then back up to center, reach, reach, reach. And let those arms float down. And then bring your legs into a cross leg position again. Turn yourself towards your right knee. And then start to walk yourself out over that knee. Any amount. So even here, it's a little bit of a side stretch. Sometimes you might feel it in through even the leg. If you can, walk the hands out a little bit more, but stop when it feels right for you. Push your hands forward so you feel your sit bone on the opposite side get a little heavier. And then breathe through that left side. One more breath. And then we're going to walk it over to the center and over to the other side. That's it. So pause at kind of that initial point where the body says stop. Maybe take a breath or two, and then maybe you could deepen it a little bit more. And then push your hands forward into the ground so the right sit bone's dropping a little bit more. And then breathing into any restriction that you feel. So when we have restriction in our tissues and in our fascia, we have less freedom. We have less mobility, less range of motion. And then walk it back to the center. Slowly start to come up. Bring your feet together. Lift your chest. And we're going to hold behind the backs of the legs. Try to pick your feet up. You might want to come off your pillow if it's kind of not balancing you. Roll your shoulders back and then see if you can lift your shins. So they're coming into boat pose. Maybe lift those legs and straighten, but if that's too much, we're going to keep them bent. Some of you might be able to reach your arms forward. That's another option. Do what works for you. Good, and then soles of the feet together for bound angle. So creating space in the inner leg. And we're just going to stay up tall. We're not going to fold at this time. Press your heels together, extend through the inner knee. And then if it feels right for you, you can go ahead and take those arms up and really press up, lengthen the side body. If that's too much, keep those arms down. One more breath here. And then slowly release. Use your hands, draw your knees up. And then we'll come into tabletop pose. And we'll do some cat-cow. So pad those knees if you like. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And when you're ready, go ahead and begin to do your cat-cows. Let's do about 5 cycles here, creating a little more freedom in our spines. I always find that the less I work on my yoga practice, the less, freedom I feel in the body. Feel more restricted. 2 more cycles. And after this next exhalation, we're going to come back to neutral, take your knees wide, and move back into your child's pose. But we're going to see if we can make this a more lengthened child's pose by reaching your arms as far forward as you can. Hold on to the edges of your mat. Pull forward with your hands, which will send your sit bones back. And then maybe your head could touch the ground. If not, just let your head hover a moment. And just keep pulling forward with your hands. And then we'll come back up into tabletop pose. Take your hands slightly forward of your shoulders. We'll tuck our toes under and lift up into a downward facing dog. Once you're in your dog, let's find a lot of space by bending the knees and lifting your sit bones up high. It's like you're tipping your sit bones up. So you're tipping your pelvis. Backs of the legs make it a good stretch. And then firm your arm muscles, firm your shoulder muscles. That's a boundary that keeps our shoulders safe. And then we're going to pedal out. Bend one knee and let the heel come down to the floor. Feel that stretch through the back of the calf. Maybe lift your toes up off the ground. That'll get the heel heavier. And then switch. Other leg bends, heel toward the ground. Maybe you could lift your toes. And then one more time on each side if you can. If this is getting too much on your arms, you can go ahead and bring your knees down, take a break. One more time on the other side. All right, and then bend your knees a lot. Walk your hands back towards your feet. You're in a forward fold at the back of your mat, and just fold over your legs. Bend your knees, root through your feet, hands to hips, and we'll press all the way up, coming into a standing position. Good, just take a moment once you're standing, ground your feet, Let's keep the feet a little wider than hips distance today, just for this particular pose, so we can feel more stability. All right, and we're gonna reach those arms up and interlace the palms and press the palms up like we've been doing. So feet are a little wider, reach those palms up, lengthen, root through your legs. Lift the front of your belly up and lengthen your tailbone down. Really feel your leg muscles, engage your leg muscles. And then we're gonna do those little side bends to each side. And the boundary here that allows us more freedom is the rooting of the legs. So if we're not rooting our legs, we're not gonna be able to go as far into that side bend, we won't be as stable. Boundaries create that stability that gives us a little bit more freedom. Now, let's go over to the right. Let the right arm drop. Left arm reaches high, and then we're going to side bend a little deeper. So continue that connection of rooting your feet, lifting your belly, tailbone down, feel the legs engage. And then maybe you could go a little farther. Breathe into that stretching side, that left side. If it bothers your back, you've gone too far. Hold here, another breath, maybe reach through that arm a little more. And then slowly release, coming back up, take a pause. All right, let's try the other side. First, we're gonna interlace the palms, press the palms up, lift the belly, lengthen the tail, engage the legs. Keep reaching up as tall as you can, and then left arm down, right arm reaches over your ear. You can find that spiral of the pinky finger forward, which helps wrap the arm in the shoulder blade, and that gives us a little bit more ability to reach. Then hold here, really root through your legs and reach through that top arm. Breathe into any restriction you might be feeling on your side body. Okay, carefully coming up. Take your time coming out of these kind of deeper postures, and then roll your shoulders out. Good, step the feet back in. We're back in mountain pose. Let's do a couple of half sun salutations. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward over your legs. Find that little bend in your knees. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Try to lengthen that side body as you reach up. And then release, hands down to your heart or at your side. All right, let's do that again. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, folding. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. This time, keep them up there for a moment. Root through your legs, lift the belly, lengthen your tail. And then we're going to take the arms out wide. Good, and now really expand wide through your arms. See if you can start to feel stretch through your chest and your shoulders, that fascia that connects the shoulders and arms to the chest. And hold it out there and step your feet apart a little wider again. Root your feet down, lift the belly, lengthen the tail. And now from here, see if you can open into a little back bend. Turn your palms up. Keep reaching your arms up. Your gaze comes up. Hold one more breath. Try not to drop your head back so that you kink your neck. You can lift your chin, but don't drop the head. Good, reach the arms up and then release, arms down at your side. Okay, let's do a couple of full sun salutations. You can always modify if you want to put knees down, things like that. So let's go ahead and do 2 rounds of Surya Namaskar A. Stand in mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale to your halfway lift. And then we're going to plant the hands, step back to plank pose. Option to drop those knees, chest forward, lower all the way down. Reach back long through your legs, shoulders back. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Always go to your knees first if you like. Take a breath in your dog. And then when you're ready, walk your feet forward, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart or at your side. One more time through, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back, plank pose, top of a push-up. Knees to the ground if you like, lower down. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, down dog. You can always come to all fours or press right up to your dog. Take a breath in your dog. And then we're going to walk the feet forward, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, if you need blocks for lunges, grab your blocks. We'll do a couple of lunge variations. Again, creating some space. We're going to add those kind of side bends and back bends that we did earlier when we were standing. So inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold, hands to blocks or the floor. And as you inhale, lengthen your spine, step your right foot to the back of your mat, move your blocks back, and then we're going to drop down onto that back knee. Toes could be tucked or untucked, and then bring your hands up onto your front thigh. Good, just like we did the other week, hook your tailbone a little forward. We get that stretch in the hip flexor. Hug your inner thighs in. So that hugging in and then also rooting down is your boundary. As you inhale, reach your arms up. Interlace your palms, press your palms up. And then get as tall as you can through that upper body. Hug the inner thighs. Keep pulling that tailbone a little forward and down. One more breath. Now we're going to keep the right arm up. Let the left arm come down at your side, just like we did standing. It's a little different now because we're not as stable. You need that boundary of rooting into the ground and hugging in. And then we might take a little side bend over towards your left. So only going as far as you feel safe. Keep hooking that tailbone. One more breath. And then we inhale, reach the arms up, take your arms out wide. Reach through the arms, create freedom and space in the chest. And then bend a little deeper into your front knee. Maybe start to lift your heart up into a little back bend. And then hook your tailbone a little forward. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. Hands down to your blocks or the floor. And then we'll lift the back knee up and step forward. Fold over your legs. Always keep that micro bend, and then we'll inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release, arms down. Okay, let's try that on the other side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to blocks. As you inhale, step the left foot to the back of the mat, move your blocks back, and drop down onto your back knee. Pad that knee if you need to. and then hands up on your front thigh. Good, find the boundary of rooting into the ground, hugging your hips in. So you almost feel like you're squeezing your inner thighs. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace the palms, press the palms up. Hook your tailbone a little forward. Keep lifting your rib cage. You want to really lift out of your lower back. This is a lot of what causes lower back compression, when our back ribs kind of drop and we compress into our lower back. Okay, right hand down, left arm stays up. Inhale, reach that arm taller, and then maybe finding a little side bend. Hook the tailbone forward. Really reach through that arm and breathe through the left side. And then release. So that's a really good place to notice how if we don't have the boundary, then we can't really go very far if we're not stable. And then arms out wide. Stretch those arms out, open across the chest. And then slide a little deeper into your front knee. Turn your palms up, maybe a little back bend. Good. Next inhale, reach the arms back up. Hands come down to the blocks. Lift your back knee. Blocks forward, step forward, and fold over your legs. As you inhale, let's reach those arms all the way up. And exhale, release. Arms down at your side. Okay, so we're gonna come to stand in the middle of the mat now and step the feet apart wide. Okay, so we'll prepare for warrior two by turning the right leg out, left toes in, and then bend your knee. Center your torso right over your pelvis and then arms out for your warrior two. Good. Okay, left hand's gonna wrap around your back to your opposite hip, and then right palm up will come into reverse warrior. That's also a side bend, but to increase that stretch, use your left hand to kind of pull your hip down as you reach more through that top arm, and try to take your left shoulder back a little more. Root into your legs and see if that allows you more freedom to reach. Good. Inhale back up, warrior two. Straighten that front leg and then bend it. Just a couple more like that. Inhale, straighten just to give that thigh a little break and bend. One more time. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Good. Hands onto your hips. Make sure you're squaring your chest straight ahead. Root into your feet. And now start to tip so that you're going toward the right leg into side angle pose, and bring your forearm onto your thigh. Okay. So really send your back thigh, your left thigh back, and feel heavy and grounded in that back heel. And then take your top hand onto your rib cage, roll it back. So get a little more spiral through the chest. But keep the right shoulder drawing back. Don't let it pop forward. Now, take that left arm, reach it straight up. Actually, right arm, sorry. Reach it straight up. Now, I'm mixing up my rights and left because I'm mirroring you guys. So, top arm. We're going to take it over your ear now, if you can. Now, if that's too much, keep it straight up. And then find the spiral of spinning your pinky finger forward and down, wrapping your shoulder blade. And that might give you more ability to reach that arm. Good. Top hand to the hip. Press into your feet. Rise back up and straighten your leg. Parallel your feet. Pause for a moment. Okay, left leg turning out, same thing. Right toes in, widen your heel, and then bend the knee. We're coming into warrior two. Good, so really grounded through your feet. Find that boundary of staying really rooted. And then right arm wraps around your back. Left palm up, finding reverse warrior. How far you go just depends on how stable you feel. And then you're going to use that right hand, wrap your shoulder back, pull your hip down, and reach through that top arm a little more. Just breathing into that left side ribs. And then release back up to your warrior two. Little break on the leg. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend. Two more like this. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Now keep the bend, hands onto your hips. Make sure your chest is squaring straight ahead. And then we start to tip. And as you tip, deepen into this front hip crease. So your left hip crease goes back and then forearm onto your thigh. Make sure that bottom shoulder draws back. And now top hand onto your rib cage. Roll your rib cage up toward the ceiling. And then the arm could come straight up. You could stay there or take that top arm, reach it over your ears, spiral your pinky down, and then reach more through that top arm. One more breath. And then we're going to release, rise back up to warrior two and straighten that leg. And we're going to step the feet back in, shake it out. Okay, one more standing pose and we're going to come down to the ground. We're going to step those feet apart wide again into that straddle shape. Turn your toes in just a little bit. Get just a tiny bit pigeon-toed. And we're going to bend the knees, hands on the hips. Inhale, lift your chest up. And as you exhale, hinge forward and bring your hands to the ground. So the knees might need to bend a lot to get the hands to the ground. That's okay. Now we're going to walk the arms forward like we're doing down dog. So we're on a diagonal. Your palms can stay down initially. Bend your knees. And as you press your palms into the ground, think about spiraling them outward without turning them. So you get that firming of your arm muscles. And that's a boundary for your shoulders so we don't hyperextend. And now from here, bend those knees a lot. Push in your feet, lift your sit bones, straighten your legs any amount. Two more like that. Bend. Keep pressing the arms, hands into the ground, spiraling them outward isometrically. Straighten. One more time. Bend. And straighten. Okay, keep lifting your sit bones. Keep your hands grounded. And then we're going to bend the right knee just a little bit. So you stretch that left inner thigh. And then go to the left. Bend that knee. Right leg straight. And just oscillate side to side a few more times. So we're getting that inner thigh stretch in preparation for our seated wide leg side bend. One more time on each side. Going slowly, and then we're back to the center. When you're ready, walk your hands back in towards your feet, any amount. And we're going to stay for a couple more breaths in the forward fold. So bend your knees and let your chest descend, let your head descend. You might bring your hands in line with your feet, or you might hold your ankles or your big toes. Whatever feels good. Keep the knees as bent as they need to be here. And if you're feeling a little more open, you could lift your sit bones and straighten your legs. But try not to jam the knees. Okay, release, walk your hands back out under your shoulders. We'll heel toe the feet in until we're all the way in. Bend your knees, hands to your hips, and we'll come all the way up. Slowly take your time. Okay, so we're gonna come down to sit now, and you're gonna wanna have that pillow or blanket in hand. Also have a strap nearby. So I'm putting the pillow, if you have a pillow or blanket, with the point in the center. And that allows a little bit more freedom for your legs here. Those of us a little tighter in the hamstrings, we're gonna bend the knees. You could also put 2 pillows or blankets under your knees. And we're just gonna try and sit up tall for a moment. Just make sure your strap is within reach. Some of you might want that. Okay. So we'll do that same thing we did in the beginning. Reach your arms up, interlace your palms, and press the palms up. If the legs are straight, you're rooting your thighs into the ground. If your legs are bent, you're rooting your heels into the ground. Good. Inhale here, lengthen, lengthen. And then we're gonna let that right hand come down, just like we've been doing on some of those standing side bends. Reach the left arm up, up, up. And now we're gonna walk that right hand out. And you can either hold on to your shin, your ankle, your foot, or you could use a strap. So just go with what feels right for you. All right, now we're gonna take our top hand onto the rib cage, just like we did on our side angle, and spiral that rib cage back. Good. And then hold it there. That arm might reach back up. Some of you might be able to take the arm over your ear. So that gives a little deeper side bend. If that's too much, keep it up. Because the more we go to the side here, the bigger hamstring stretch, the bigger the side waist stretch. And spiral your finger down and reach through that pinky finger. Keep your legs rooting down, toes are facing up, kneecaps up. Now coming out super mindfully. Top hand to the hip, belly in. Press your hip down with your hand and carefully come up. And that'll prevent us from yanking on that back muscle. Okay, pause in the center. We gotta even ourselves out. Inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace your palms, press the palms up. And then we're going to release, left hand down, right arm stays up initially. Really lift that arm up and walk those fingers out. Wherever you land is fine. Shin, ankle, foot, or use your strap. Okay, top hand onto the top rib cage. Roll that rib cage back. And then you can always stay there or reach the arm back up. You can stay here or start to reach that arm over your ear. Spiral the pinky finger down and then reach through that pinky finger. Holding another breath. Maybe lean back so that your sit bones stay grounded. Okay, coming out mindfully, top hand to the hip, belly in. Push the hip down and carefully coming back up. Pause in the center. And then you could stay right here in an upright position. But if you want to do a forward fold, you can bring your hands forward, walk your hands out any amount. Now, as you come forward, think about tipping your sit bones back, and that'll help keep your spine more neutral. Rather than tucking your tail under, that's going to round your back. So we keep our spine as spacious as we can. And then to your capacity, coming into that forward fold. And we're going to have a few breaths here. One more. And then very slowly starting to bring ourselves up. Use your hands to lift your knees and slide your legs together. Good. Okay, I can't believe the hour's about up already. We're gonna come onto our backs. But you did a lot of hard work, a lot of good work. So when you're ready, maybe a pillow under your head, grab anything that you want for Shavasana. We're gonna just do a couple of finishing things here. And we're gonna do a nice guided meditation in Shavasana, very relaxing. So as you come down, let that spine settle into the ground. Take a couple breaths, feet are flat, knees bent. Just relax your back. All right, and then from here, you could bring knees into the chest, do a little rock side to side. And then feet down to the ground. Cross your right leg over your left leg like eagle pose. So no space between the legs. And we'll just do a little spinal twist. You can shift your hips a little to the right and then drop your knees over to the left. Now, if the legs crossed is too much, you could go ahead and uncross, or you could put a block underneath your knees so that you don't come as deep into the twist. Depends on how it feels here. So you get a stretch perhaps through the lower back, the outer glute, the outer hip, maybe a little IT band. Let your shoulders really drop into the ground. And find a nice soft breath, letting everything start to relax. All right, I'm going to take an inhale, and as you exhale, uncross the top leg. Bring that foot to the ground, and then the other foot to the ground, and even yourself out. And other side, left leg crosses over. Shift your hips over to the left, and then knees to the right. Feel free to modify as needed by uncrossing the legs or using a prop under your legs. And then arms out to a T. Soft breath into the belly, feeling into those outer hips. All right, and then we'll release that top foot to the ground, bottom foot to the ground, even your hips out, and then we'll bring those knees in one more time. Separate your knees, let them drop apart, feet are apart, and then lift your feet toward the sky for happy baby. You can hold behind your legs, hold your ankles or your feet. And if you want to go for another straddle, you could take your legs apart wide. But keep your sacrum and your tailbone drawing down. And even your shoulders, because we don't want the back to get all rounded into the floor just to get the pose. So that's another boundary for ourselves, knowing, when we are not doing something good for our bodies, we push ourselves too far, then we end up aggravating things. Okay, let's bring those knees back in. And finding Shavasana as you are ready. So you might want to stretch those legs out and give them a little bounce, a little wiggle. Make sure you're loosening up your lower back. Support the backs of the knees if the lower back feels a little tender. And then arms at your side. If it's comfortable for you, palms are going to face up. So take your time getting settled. And allow all of your back muscles to really soften into the ground. So this is a guided meditation on sensing space in the body. So space often feels like freedom, right? Wide open space. So let your tension start to settle down into your body. Let the weight of your back body drop. And almost having a sense of your back body becoming the ground. Merging with the ground. And as your back body gets heavier, sense lightness in your front body. And imagine that the front body merges with the sky and the air and space. So at the same time you feel heavy, you also feel light. Feel the palms of your hands. Notice a sense of energy radiating out from your hands. So they feel lighter and more spacious. As if you were wearing a pair of large energy gloves. Hands feel like they're taking up more space. And then do the same thing with the soles of your feet, feeling sensitivity and expansion in your feet. As if you're wearing a set of big moon boots. Feet feeling like they're taking up more space. And then let the sense of space and energy in your hands and feet spread up through your arms and your legs. And sense this growing feeling of alive space in all of your limbs. Feel it spread into your shoulders and your hips, into your upper back and your chest, your torso, your lower back and lower belly. Sense this space in your neck, in your jaw, in your cheeks. Sense it in the forehead and the scalp. Sense it throughout your entire body as a whole, open, alive space. Have a sense of dropping the image of your body and sensing it just as it is, feeling less defined and more like a soft cloud than a solid object. In this way, it is similar to a thought passing through the sky of awareness. Harder to sense the borders of your body. You stay with this sense of inner space. It might deepen and expand. You might imagine your body like a huge cathedral filled with open space. And as you explore this sense of space more deeply, you might notice that it is not confined to the interior of your body, but it surrounds it. When you try to find a boundary, you can't. Feel the space in front of your body and imagine you're breathing in and out from that space. And then feel into the space behind your body, breathing from and into the back body. Feel the space above your body, like into the heavens, and then below, deep into the ground. And feel the space all around your body. Just sensing that you are like infinite space. rest in infinite space. And we're going to start to come back to kind of reality by just noticing your physical body, feel yourself in the ground, feel the boundaries of your body, and let your breath get a little deeper. Eventually move a little bit through fingers and toes. Gradually coming out of your deep state of rest. If you feel ready to, you could make bigger movements and eventually pause on your side for just a moment or two. When you feel ready to, you can go ahead and make your way to a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. Okay. So once you're there in your seated position, using a prop if that's best for you, root your sit bones down and float the crown of the head up. Create space in the central channel. Shoulders back. Chin level with the floor, find soft eyes, soft breath into the belly, and then either eyes closed or a gentle focal point. Let the mind feel like wide open, spacious sky. I'll share one more passage with you from the yoga philosophy. So yoga is not about becoming free. It's about recognizing you already are, and then living in the threshold of healthy self-boundaries. It's about making good judgments and binding yourself to knowledge that awakens you to your inherent freedom. This may not be easy, but it is aligned with the highest intention of the universe. Freedom has freely created freedom with boundaries, which is you. For integration and healing to happen, you learn how to embrace your limitations and then lean in the direction of your heart to the best of your ability with acceptance and compassion. When asked what the definition of freedom was, poet Robert Frost replied, "It's being easy in your harness." So regardless of what restrictions are around us, what limitations are around us, it's our mindset that creates a sense of freedom or not. Let's bring our hands together in front of the heart space. As you inhale, allow the heart to lift, and as you exhale, bow your head down to meet your heart. And thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Feel free to unmute. I will see you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have some nice weather. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yay. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you so much.
Good, yeah.
It's so funny because I've been studying the word freedom last week, and it's like a God thing that you gave that to me. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool. Is right. Okay. Have a good
All
week.
right.
Love you.
Have a great weekend,
Have a good
everybody.
weekend.
Have fun,
Bye.
Chris. I'll
Thank
see you next
you.
time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have fun, Patty. You guys are all going away. Take care.
Bye.